Episode 21. Creation Floating on the Ceiling. When the world begins to forget art, an ancient mission will wake up again. Welcome to the Sky Mender's Fragments of Artistic Space. Ancient Eastern China more than 8,000 years ago, the cosmic dome cracks, the abyss of nothingness swallows everything. In despair, Empress Nuwa blooms with high-dimensional divine light. The hand rest condenses the original emotions of the universe. 5 colored stones soar up. When the colorful stones touch the cracks, turn into a bright stream of light. The abyss closes. She spread the fire she created into the world. Leave hope and warmth to the world. After a long time flies to a highly automated future. Humanity is gradually losing its connection with art. Numb collective subconscious, breeding the name Zero Domain. The absolute power of reason. Gray and white cracks tear apart the time and space of the art universe. The sky that had been repaired collapsed again. Countless artistic essences were reduced to fragments, scattered in every corner of the long river of time. In the cold, dead city, a high-dimensional light quietly lit up. Iona appears with the echo of Nuwa's compassion, holding in hand space-time bricks that can collect broken time and space. She looks up to the broken spiritual universe, said softly. Only by retrieving the scattered art and life touch, only then can we reassemble the lost truth, goodness and beauty. Gray data covers the streets of Taipei in the future. Taipei 101 in the rain is hidden in the cold light and shadow. Young Liu is just the most ordinary person in the city. When Iona handed the space-time building blocks into his hands, the long-dormant artistic memory suddenly flooded into my heart. The long-lost sense of life awakens again. This time, we must mend the sky ourselves. Liu holds the blocks tightly. Embark on a journey to mend the sky spanning thousands of years of artistic civilization. In the towering virtual work cabin of New Taipei, Liu is performing data maintenance with a calm expression. Light blue lines flashed on the holographic panel, but he noticed the originally neat code is being mixed with an invisible, gray interference and zero domain code. This abnormal code is quietly modifying his personal permissions and data. Liu picked up the teacup. The handmade reliefs on the cup wall appear under the touch of your fingers. Its hand-carved lines are smoothed out as quickly as water mist. Degrades into flat gray plastic. Even the mechanical vibration of the gears inside the pocket watch faded away. Retracts into a smooth, flat gray seamless block of plastic. Liu looked confused. Hands holding messy dark hair. The very faint space-time blue fluorescent light shines in the darkness of the hair. The corners of his eyes twitch slightly, showing chibi-like confusion and shock. Watching all the details and colors quickly fade away before your eyes. The female voice of the auxiliary AI sounded hollow. The level of faith and emotion has dropped by 30%. Liu looked out the floor-to-ceiling window. The neon lights of the high-altitude orbit faded to gray. The wind blowing from the atmospheric circulation carries the smell of dry plastic. Very pungent, the edges of Taipei 101 are also being eroded by pixels. Liu held on to the glass. It is heartbreaking to feel that the human heartbeat is synchronized with the mechanical silence. The bright holographic advertisement in the sky collapsed and disintegrated in large areas, turned into countless sharp black and white pixel cracks. Dust in the atmospheric system is spreading. The entire city is being rewritten with cold code. At this moment, the space-time building blocks on the workbench are suspended, violently folded and unfolded, spraying out dazzling silver-white particles. The hazy figure of the silver-haired girl Iona appeared in the particles. Emits an orange-red warm light. Gentleness dispels the coldness of death in the virtual work cabin. Iona's eyes are detached, anxiously calling out his mind. The fire is dying, Liu. Humanity's impression of divine power is being erased. To find the light of creation in the dome, awaken the most primitive spiritual shock. Liu held the blocks tightly, swallowed by bright light. The space-time channel collapsed. Liu fell heavily on the floor of the magnificent but cold Renaissance cathedral. Towering stone pillars reach into the sky. The atmosphere is filled with flying lime dust and biting cold wind. The empty corridor looked extremely silent. This was originally the core temple of the Italian papal civilization, but the tall pilasters under the dome are being blocked by gray geometric barriers. The originally sculptural and plump muscle lines were completely smoothed out by the zero domain code. Shows formatted gray and white. Zero Domain tried to completely obliterate the colors of the frescoes. The entire Holy See fell into a gray and dead silence. There is no sacred music in the atmosphere. Only dry, high-frequency electromagnetic noise is left, whispering crazily in midair. The pilgrims and painters in the Holy See stood stiffly like gray silhouettes, forgot to kneel down and create. The paint box beside them is shriveled and hardened into inorganic plastic blocks, lost the ability to resonate with the divine soul. An afterimage of an unfinished fresco floated in front of Liu. This is the art fragment of this collection. Iona's silver light guides gently. Tips. The only way is to prepare lime mud and fill the defects. Painted with alkali-resistant natural pigments. Only then can we reconstruct this sacred picture of creation. Liu held up the rough and wet lime mud in his hands. A warm and real physical texture comes from your fingertips. This rough feeling made the sensibility in his body that had been suppressed by reason jump out again. Looking at the zero-domain chains approaching all around, he decided to paint the stone wall that conveys the warmth of faith. Liu stood on a towering wooden scaffolding, used a brush and spatula to apply wet mud to the stone walls of the dome. His face was covered with lime dust. Chibi's face is exposed while painting with extreme concentration and comic difficulty. Expression. A close-up of Liu's creation in a split-frame comic. Left panel show. Liu quickly painted using alkali-resistant pigments. Focus on the side face. Right panel display. Liu used hemp rope to fix the wooden palette on the hands on the scaffold. Red marks on palms. When the last stroke of natural lapis lazuli pigment is applied, when the lime plaster wall is not yet dry, the fresco made a slight murmur. The sound was extremely clear, then it blends into the wall. Circles of light red energy ripples in the atmosphere. This ripple spreads around with the warmth of the touch, collision with the translucent geometric codes of the surrounding zero domain, stirring up ripple-like interference and distortion in the water, to tear apart the emotionless order in the space. Liu stepped into a building completely made of cinnabar and red soil. Towering majestic giant wooden palace. In the center of the hall, there stands a statue made of countless hand-painted walls stacked one on top of another. Giant mural. Liu looked up. I saw a painter floating upside down in the air. The overlapping afterimages of the feverish painting on the dome with hands covered with wet mud. The air is reverberating with ancient and surging choruses. This sacred image unleashes an overwhelming emotional impact, hitting the depths of Liu's soul. He felt extremely shocked. A panel cartoon closes up the details of this fresco. Left panel show. The mural composition is grand, and the human body is full of muscles. Modeled and powerful under the firelight. The right panel displays a sculptural contrast between light and dark, demonstrates dramatic tension and biblical epic scenes. These details highlight the warmth of manual labor, the centerpiece of the papal palace during the High Renaissance. It is the ultimate in human realistic art that cannot be simulated by AI code. The black and gray geometric chains of zero domain tightly wrap around the giant mural. Gray noise in the atmosphere increases dramatically, quickly smooth out the surrounding red totems. The surface of the stone wall turned into dead gray pixel particles due to desaturation erosion. The spiritual echo of the mural master half knelt in front of the collapsed wall, his hands melted little by little in the dust, showing an expression of extreme pain and despair, and sighed. The ash will cover everything. The murals and history will eventually become nothing. What's the point of carving wood and stone? Looking at the gray noise peeling off the edge of the wall, Liu's mind flashed through those people in New Taipei who looked numb and no memory, pedestrian face without emotion. He knew clearly, if this warm red color is allowed to be completely erased by the zero domain, the future world will be completely reduced to a cold and ruthless precision machine. Liu held the brush tightly with both hands. The nebulae flow in the pupils. A dazzling space-time blue fluorescent light burst out from the darkness of the hair. The emotional power in the body was completely ignited at this moment. Because we lived. Liu let out a deafening roar, used the paintbrush of both hands to overwhelm mountains and seas. The powerful force hit the lime mud drum surface of the giant mural. The first heavy impact exploded on the earth like spring thunder. Wherever the sound wave passes, the whole hall trembled violently. A materialized crimson color and golden energy ripples spread crazily outward from the wall in a circular shape. Mixed with burning particles all over the sky, shatter the zero-domain geometric chains and codes blocking the front to pieces. Liu was sweating profusely. His hands continued to draw on the wall frantically and rhythmically. The continuous lines beat violently in the space like the heartbeat of civilization. The reverberation of the master's spirit laughs before the painting. He wields a rough brush stained with red earth paint, flat painting on the collapsed stone wall. The bright Pompeii red and cinnabar red spread quickly under the firelight, perfectly synchronized with Liu's passionate painting. Together we compose a life movement against forgetfulness. The giant mural once again bursts into dazzling Pompeii red light. The sleeping figures of the aboriginal murals on the walls seem to come alive. They danced a primitive bonfire dance around the dome in the dancing firelight. The entire palace became unstoppable at this moment of crimson memories and emotional torrent. Wash away all the gray and de-emotional codes in zero domain. The rolling red particles are like boiling blood, galloping and roaring in space, announces the awakening of the most primitive heartbeat of this civilization. The cinnabar red energy spreads in all directions. Space-time building blocks absorb light particles. Ring a bell. Incorporate this mural and memory inside. Take away, Liu. Liu opened his eyes in the work cabin. There are now more cold and gray data lines on the holographic screen. A hint of warm light red. The gray pixels on the fingertips have completely receded. On the workbench, the brass pocket watch lies quietly in the center. The mottled shell bears historical wear and tear, but the internal pointer emits an extremely clear sound, rhythmic ticking, moving steadily. Liu pressed the warm brass pocket watch tightly to his heart. His eyes were slightly moist. The nebula in the pupil slowly flows. A smile of great relief and deepness appeared on the corner of his mouth. The space-time building blocks rotated irregularly and violently again. Blurred new Taipei city lines are projected in midair. Liu clasped his hands together. Adopt a posture of inquiry and vigilance. The space-time building blocks on the workbench rotate irregularly and violently again. The next fragment of art has awakened. It is the afterimage of a golden statue floating in midair, mysterious luminous symbols, and the special colors looming in the sky. A new adventure will begin. Are you ready to go on this journey with me? Global Sky Menders. What do you think Zero Domain will take away next time? A. Human beings are gradually losing their ability to remember smell. I can no longer think of the past through the taste. B. Human beings are gradually unable to feel inner peace. C. Human beings are beginning to lose their perception of the scale of the universe. D. Others leave a message to Liu. Your answers will be stored in the Douyin database. Global Sky Mender's mission. This mission, please leave a message to share your thoughts. What memory do you most want to preserve and never forget? Every love is a fire in the time and space of art. If you also hope that these historical civilizations will not be forgotten, please leave love, follow, and share with friends around you. Participate in repairing the next piece of debris, but to let future generations know, the tip of the pen extending upward, it is the most affectionate tribute sent by mankind to the unknown divinity.